Okay, so I'm going to be making sulfuric acid, and I already have a big ginormous solution of my reactants, but I wanted that I made yesterday. So I just want to show the chemical reaction that goes on here on a smaller scale. So it's oxalic acid and copper sulfate. So I have my copper sulfate, and I have my oxalic acid. And you want to make a solution of both individually. So I'm going to only do a very little bit because I'm not actually going to be using this, just to show the chemistry. So a little bit of distilled water in each, and I make a saturated solution of copper sulfate. So I have excess, so I don't need to measure it. And it's already kind of, there's some acids in it, but normally it would be because I didn't clean it well, but it'll still work. So I'm just going to dissolve that. And then I'm going to also create a solution of oxalic acid. This stuff is really annoying, it gets everywhere. And it's probably enough. And so pretty much this is a weak acid C. It's pretty much, it's a form of sugar pretty much. And then you have this copper sulfate. So it's just a double replacement. So you have your H goes with your sulfate, and your copper goes with your oxalate. So once I just mix these two well, I'm just going to pour this in, and you can see the precipitate form, which is copper oxalate, which is not very soluble in water. And then you're going to also have sulfuric acid. So as you can see, it just became crashed out of solution. However, this is extremely fine. So I can't just filter out the copper oxalate with my vacuum filter. And from all that distilled water I just added, it's very, very dilute sulfuric acid. So what I need to do is distill it. This is the first time I've ever actually distilled anything. So it's kind of trial by error. So I got some stuff, and I'm going to go up to the garage and to driveway actually, and try to distill it. I've had pretty much, I did this last night, and I have let it set, and all of the copper oxalate I let settle to the bottom. But if I touch barely any of this, like even lift it up, it will all mix out. And I really don't want that because it kind of gums up my distilling, I found out yesterday. So I'm going to bring back in my reaction container, and I'm just going to pour straight here. Perfect. Now my bubbler's active. I'm going to turn on the power. And the heat. And now we wait to let it boil. But I'll explain how it's kind of working. So you just heat it up, then it all evaporates. The water has a slightly lower evaporation like temperature or boiling temperature than the acid, so you're gonna boil it over, condenses back down here, cooling down the temperature, and and then it'll condensate. So at the start, I'm gonna have very dilute, mostly water, a little bit of acid. Then slowly but surely, it'll start becoming more and more acid to water ratio, and you'll see it start to just make some lines or something. Kind of, you can kind of see perforations. Kind of when you add like alcohol to water, and then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna take a little droplet from a pipette. I'm gonna put it on some paper, and if it burns the paper, that means it's concentrated enough for me to actually start collecting. So yeah, this is gonna take like a very long time.